I remember my very first day in the gym back in Indiana. My palms were soft and quickly got torn up on the bars because they weren't accustomed to gripping steel. But over time, after thousands of reps, my palms built up a thick callus as protection. The same principle works when it comes to mindset. Until you experience hardships like abuse and bullying, failures and disappointments, your mind will remain soft and exposed. Life experience, especially negative experiences, help callous the mind, but it's up to you where that callus lines up. If you choose to see yourself as a victim of circumstance into adulthood, that callus will become resentment that protects you from the unfamiliar. It will make you too cautious and untrusting and possibly too angry at the world. It will make you fearful of change and hard to reach, but not hard of mind. That's where I was as a teenager, but after my second hell week, I become someone new. I'd fought through so many horrible situations by then and remained open and ready for more. My ability to stay open represented a willingness to fight for my own life, which allowed me to withstand hailstorms of pain and use it to callous over my victim's mentality. That, was gone, buried under layers of sweat and hard, flesh. And I was starting to callous over my fears, too. That realization gave me the mental edge I needed to outlast Psycho Pete one more time, to show him he couldn't hurt me anymore. I smiled back and the feeling of being on the edge of a blackout went away. Suddenly, I was energized. The pain faded and I felt like I could stay under all day. Psycho saw that in my eyes. I tied off the last knot at a leisurely pace, glaring at him the whole time. He gestured with his hands for me to hurry up as his diaphragm contracted. I finally finished. He gave me a quick affirmative and kicked to the surface, desperate for a breath. I took my time, joined him topside, and found him gasping while I felt strangely relaxed. When the chips were down at the pool during Air Force pararescue training, I'd buckled. This time, I won a major battle in the water. It was a big victory, but the war wasn't over. After I passed the knot-tying evolution, we had 2 minutes to climb out onto the deck, get dressed, and head back to the classroom during first phase. That's usually plenty of time. But a lot of us, not just me, were still healing from Hell Week and not moving at our typical lightning pace. On top of that, once we got through Hell Week, Class 231 went through a bit of an attitude adjustment. Hell Week is designed to show you that a human is capable of much more than you know. It opens your mind to the true possibilities of human potential. And with that comes a change in your mentality. You no longer fear cold water or doing push-ups all day. You realize that no matter what they do to you, they will never break you. So you don't rush as much to make their arbitrary deadlines. You know, if you don't make it, the instructors will beat you down. Meaning push-ups, getting wet and sandy, anything to up the pain and discomfort quotient. But for those of us knuckle-draggers still in the mix, our attitude was, so the be it. None of us fear the instructors anymore. And we weren't about to rush. They didn't like that one damn bit. I had seen a lot of beatdowns while at Bud's, but the one we received that day will go down as one of the worst in history. We did push-ups until we couldn't pick ourselves up off the deck. Then they turned us on our backs and demanded flutter kicks. Each kick was torture for me. I kept putting my legs down because of the pain. I was showing weakness. And if you show weakness, it is on. Psycho and SBG descended and took turns on me. I went from push-ups to flutter kicks to bear crawls until they got tired. I could feel the moving parts of my knee shifting, floating, and grabbing every time I bent it to do those bear crawls, and it was agonizing. I moved slower than normal and knew I was broken. That simple question bubbled up again. Why? What was I trying to prove? Quitting seemed the sane choice. The comfort of mediocrity sounded like sweet relief until Psycho screamed in my ear, "Move faster, motherfucker." Once again, an amazing feeling washed over me. I wasn't focused on outdoing him this time. I was in the worst pain of my life. But my victory in the pool minutes before came rushing back. I'd finally proved to myself that I was a decent enough waterman to belong in the Navy SEALs. Heavy stuff for a negatively buoyant kid that never took a swim lesson in his entire life. And the reason I got there was because I put in the work. The pool had been my kryptonite. Even though I was a far better swimmer as a SEAL candidate, I was still so stressed about water evolutions that I used to sit at the pool after a day of training at least 3 times a week. I scaled the 15-foot fence just to gain after-hours access. Other than the academic aspects, nothing scared me as much about the prospects of buddies like the swimming drills. And by dedicating time, I was able to callous over that fear and hit new levels underwater when the pressure was on. I thought about the incredible power of a callous mind on task as Psycho and SPG beat me down. And that thought became a feeling that took over my body and made me move as fast as a bear around that pool. I couldn't believe what I was doing. The intense pain was gone and so were those nagging questions. I was putting out harder than ever, breaking through the limitations of injury and pain tolerance and riding a second wind delivered by a callous mind. After the bear crawls, I went back to doing flutter kicks and I still had no pain. As we were leaving the pool a half hour later, SBG asked Goggins, "What got into your ass to make you Superman?" I just smiled and left the pool. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't yet understand what I now know. Similar to using an opponent's energy to gain an advantage, leaning on your callous mind in the heat of battle can shift your thinking as well. Remembering what you've been through and how that has strengthened your mindset can lift you out of a negative brain loop and help you bypass those weak 1-second impulses to give in so you can power through obstacles. And when you leverage a callous mind like I did around the pool that day and keep fighting through pain, it can help you push your limits. Because if you accept the pain as a natural process and refuse to give in and give up, you will engage the sympathetic nervous system, which shifts your hormonal flow. The sympathetic nervous system is your fight or flight reflex. It's bubbling just below the surface. And when you are lost, stressed out, or struggling, like I was when I was a down-and-out kid, that's the part of your mind that's driving the bus. We've all tasted this feeling before. Those moments when going on a run is the last thing you want to do. But then 20 minutes into it, you feel energized. That's the work of the sympathetic nervous system. What I found is that you can tap into it on call as long as you know how to manage your own mind. When you indulge in negative self-talk, the gifts of a sympathetic response will remain out of reach. However, if you can manage those moments of pain that come with maximum effort by remembering what you've been through to get to that point in your life, you will be in a better position to persevere and choose fight over flight. That will allow you to use the adrenaline that comes with a sympathetic response to go even harder. Obstacles at work and school can also be overcome with your callous mind. In those cases, pushing through a given flashpoint isn't likely to lead to a sympathetic response, but it will keep you motivated to push through any doubt you feel about your own abilities. No matter the task at hand, there is always opportunity for self-doubt. Whenever you decide to follow a dream or set a goal, you are just as likely to come up with all the reasons why the likelihood of success is low. Blame it on the up evolutionary wiring of the human mind, but you don't have to let your doubt into the cockpit. You can tolerate doubt as a backseat driver, but if you put doubt in the pilot's seat, defeat is guaranteed. Remembering that you've been through difficulties before and have always survived to fight again shifts the conversation in your head. It will allow you to control and manage doubt and keep you focused on taking each and every step necessary to achieve the task at hand. Sounds simple, right? It isn't. Very few people even bother to try to control the way their thoughts and doubts bubble up. The vast majority of us are slaves to our minds. Most don't even make the first effort when it comes to mastering their thought process because it's a never-ending chore and impossible to get right. Every time the average person thinks 2,000-3,000 thoughts per hour, that's 30 to 50 per minute. Some of those shots will slip by the goalie. It's inevitable, especially if you coast through life. Physical training is the perfect crucible to learn how to manage your thought process because when you're working out, your focus is more likely to be single-pointed, and your response to stress and pain is immediate and measurable. Do you hammer hard and snag that personal best like you said you would, or do you crumble? That decision rarely comes down to physical ability. It's almost always a test of how well you are managing your own mind. If you push yourself through each split and use that energy to maintain a strong pace, you have a great chance of recording a faster time. Granted, some days it's easier to do that than others. And the clock or the score doesn't matter anyway. The reason it's important to push hardest when you want to quit the most is because it helps you callous your mind. It's the same reason why you have to do your best work when you are the least motivated. That's why I love PT and Buddhas and why I still love it today. Physical challenges strengthen my mind, so I'm ready for whatever life throws at me, and it will do the same for you. But no matter how well you deploy it, a callous mind can't heal broken bones. On the mile-long hike back to the buddies' compound, the feeling of victory evaporated and I could feel the damage I'd done. I had 20 weeks of training in front of me, dozens of evolutions ahead, and I could barely walk. While I wanted to deny the pain in my knee, I knew I was, so, I limped straight to medical. When he saw my knee, the doc didn't say a damn thing. He just shook his head and sent me to get an X-ray that revealed a fractured kneecap. In buds, when reserves sustained injuries that take a long time to heal, they're sent home. And that's what happened to me. I crutched my ass back to the barracks, demoralized. And while checking out, I saw some of the guys that quit during Hell Week. When I first glimpsed their helmets lined up beneath the bell, I felt sorry for them because I knew the empty feeling of giving up. But seeing them face to face reminded me that failure is a part of life. And now we all had to press on. I hadn't quit, so I knew I'd be invited back. But I had no idea if that meant a third Hell Week or not, or if after getting rolled twice, I still had the burning desire to fight through another hurricane of pain with no guarantee of success. Given my injury record, how could I? I left the Buds compound with more self-awareness and more mastery over my mind than I'd ever had before. But my future was just as uncertain.